Here's more wrestling news for May 11th, 2023, and we're starting off with AEW as all signs are pointing to CM Punk's return being just a matter of weeks away. It's been rumored for some time that Punk will be returning on June 17th, which is also believed to be the date of the premiere of AEW's Saturday wrestling show, AEW Collision. While Punk will be the biggest name to return if it happens, he won't be coming alone, as Fightful Select reports that multiple absent AEW wrestlers are set to appear on the debut of Collision. The report adds that AEW's plan is to have a fresh approach to the show's roster, but there's no confirmation on what exactly that means. We know that it doesn't mean a hard roster split, as some have rumored, as reports have refuted the idea that there will be a brand split similar to what we've seen in WWE. There are multiple names absent from AEW TV, including the likes of Andrade El Idolo and Nyla Rose, though Miro and Thunder Rosa returned to TV on last night's Dynamite. Interestingly, Punk's name was used on Dynamite, as AEW World Champion MJF named him as one of many opponents he's beaten, and the fact that Punk's name was used did not go unnoticed by fans. Fightful added that not only will Punk be on the premiere of Collision, but he will compete in a marquee match, which may not be against Chris Jericho. While Jericho has been rumored as Punk's first feud back, given that the Elite are reportedly resistant to work with him, Fightful reports that Punk himself has pitched somebody else for his return match. There's no word at this time who exactly Punk wants to face, though we know that several top names in AEW told Tony Khan that they'd refuse to work with him after All Out, though their attitudes may have softened in the months since the infamous September pay-per-view. AEW Collision will lead to a cash infusion for AEW, as Warner Bros. Discovery now have the exclusive right to all AEW content, but it's unclear how much exactly AEW will be receiving for Collision by their broadcast partners. AEW Collision will quickly become the company's second biggest show, replacing AEW Rampage in the spot, and Fightful adds that the Friday show will become AEW's equivalent to Sunday Night Heat, featuring less important matches, as well as the indie talents fans could usually see on Dark and Dark Elevation. There was a long time when fans thought they'd never see Punk in an AEW ring again, and a lot has had to be changed ahead of his return, and we'll just have to see whether Punk can keep out of trouble when he makes his way back to TV. But what do you think to all this? Are you excited to see Punk return? And what are your thoughts on AEW Collision? Share your views down in the comments below. It's always worth remembering that AEW have not confirmed Punk's return, or that AEW Collision is even in the works, despite all signs pointing to both of these situations being true. With that said, expect things to change soon enough, especially given what Tony Khan said during this week's episode of Dynamite. When Renee Paquette caught up with the AEW president, he said that there are many AEW wrestlers lined up in the back looking for a chance to compete, and it's more clear than ever that AEW needs more programming. Khan went on to say that next week will include a groundbreaking announcement for AEW, and given what has been reported and what he said on the show, it's clear he's talking about the Saturday show. Frankly, anything other than the announcement of Collision and the possible announcement of Punk's return would be considered underwhelming, and we'll just have to wait and see what Khan has to say in regards to AEW's big plans for this summer. Now, when Bobby Fish left AEW last year, it came less than a year after his debut for the promotion, and the story at the time was that Fish didn't want to leave alone. According to reports at the time, Fish had tried and failed to convince Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly to leave with him, with the plan seemingly for the three to return to WWE. Speaking to Inside the Ropes this week, Fish refuted the idea that he tried to cause anyone to quit AEW as part of this alleged plan. He said, "People at one point released some leak about me when I left AEW trying to get Kyle and Adam to come to WWE, and that is accepted at this point as like gospel, and there's no truth to it whatsoever. The desire to know the perceived dirt is such that fiction becomes fact. I've been victim of that more than once." Whether Fish tried to do this or not, it didn't happen, and Roderick Strong recently joined Cole and O'Reilly as a member of the AEW roster. As for Bobby Fish, he's with Impact Wrestling for the time being, but he never tried to force anyone's hand, according to the man himself. Going into this year's WrestleMania, there was a lot of debate over which match would main event Night 1. The two frontrunners fighting for the spot were Charlotte Flair versus Rhea Ripley and the Usos versus Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, and WWE ultimately decided that the tag titles would go on last. It turns out that the superstars weren't told of this decision until very late, as during the latest Out of Character podcast, Ryan Satin revealed that during WrestleMania weekend, Charlotte Flair was frustrated with WWE for not telling her the plan. Given that WrestleMania fell on that weekend, it appears that Flair and the others only found out shortly before WrestleMania Saturday began, and we imagine the Queen was far from pleased with what she was told. Charlotte has claimed that her feud with Ripley had been going on for 3 years, as the pair faced off at WrestleMania 36, though that argument only works if you ignore the many feuds both women have had in between. While Charlotte dreams of being the first two-time female WrestleMania headliner, this year wasn't hers. And do you think WWE picked the right match to close night one? It's safe to say that Matt Riddle has had his fair share of controversies in recent years, with multiple women accusing him of cheating. This week, Riddle had his privacy invaded when a leaked video of an explicit nature was shared online, and now things have taken a turn on social media. Addressing the leak on Twitter, Riddle's ex-girlfriend Daniela Petro questioned why she is still seeing very un-PG videos of Riddle after their breakup, and reiterated her claim that Riddle is a sexual predator. Petro also tagged Riddle's current girlfriend Misha Montana, telling the film actress to get your dog on a leash, and it wasn't long until Montana gave her views. In a fiery tweet of her own, Montana said that reports about Riddle have encouraged severely mentally ill, unstable individuals who have unhealthy attachment to Riddle, and while she didn't mention Petro by name, it's very clear who she's referring to. Riddle may be one of WWE's most popular superstars in recent years, but the original bro continues to make headlines for all the wrong reasons, and we doubt this will be stopping anytime soon. And we're ending today with AEW Dynamite, as this week's show saw a huge betrayal by Don Callis, but what happened after the show went off the air? In the closing moments of Dynamite, Callis betrayed Kenny Omega in a steel cage match with Jon Moxley, but there are some people that the cleaner can still rely on. When Dynamite went off the air, Omega's elite partners, the Young Bucks, came to his aid and had gotten physical with the Blackpool Combat Club earlier in the show. The cage raised as the three made their way to the back, with Matt and Nick Jackson helping Omega remain on his feet. Callis turning on Omega marks the end of an alliance between the two that lasted for over 2 years, and expect the Elite to be hungry for answers and revenge on AEW's upcoming shows.